Hello, my name is Daniel and I'm a Christian gay activist.
Daniel and I were both delegates at the European Forum for Christian LGBTQ groups at the end of May. We were both sent there on behalf of EKHO, which is a Swedish group for Christian LGBTQ people. During the conference, I sat down with Daniel to hear him speak about his activism as a Christian gay man.
So my name is Daniel Andersson and I use he, him as pronouns and I identify as gay. I'm a believer, kind of a strong believer, I would say, because I've been involved in church for many years and primarily in Church of Sweden, but also now in EKHO Stockholm, which is a pleasure because I really enjoy discussing different questions related to international relations and LGBTQ perspectives within church, within the society as a whole.
Let's start with his own journey with his faith.
I started Believe when I was confirmated. I usually went to church with my grandma when I was younger, mainly during Christmas. I got involved after my confirmation in church. I was promoted from my priest to become and get involved in Swedish Church of Youth, which is Church of Sweden's youth organization.
He's still a part of that organization and is currently on the national board.
It's a very interesting organization, especially as a gay man. In Church of Sweden's youth, we work in different groups, especially with the theme. And one of the themes is norms. And we usually promote different people and different identities, sexualities and everything. But it has not been very active lately. For me, it's kind of a shame because I really think it's a very important questions, especially for youth today. How we as young people need to mobilize about these questions.
And one thing that he thinks this movement needs is for more LGBTQIA+ people to be involved.
So I'm very passionate about getting more LGBTQ persons involved within Christianity, especially Church of Sweden. I think it's very important for the church to involve youth within different kind of questions, and one of these areas is especially LGBTQ. I know a lot of parishes that works in dioceses, for example, are working very hard with these questions to get more people involved, but it's very hard for my youth organization, Church of Sweden's Youth, for developing the context or the relevance for other LGBTQ persons to be involved. And from my diocese in Stockholm, we had Bishop Eva Brunne, which is a lesbian and the first lesbian, or the first gay bishop, I think, which was also like a promotion we could use as the organization itself, or the youth organization, and how we can promote other LGBTQ persons to get involved.
Daniel feels very strongly about this.
For me, it's very important to mobilize about these questions, especially meet other LGBTQ persons and share knowledge within their different faith. Therefore, I also really enjoy being a part of EKHO at the moment to discuss a lot of questions related to both LGBTQ persons and Christianity and how it's relevant for our context. And it's always relevant.
One reason that he feels that the church needs to be a more welcoming space for LGBTQIA+ people is because of his own history.
In my own context, as a gay man, a Christian gay man, it was very hard for me to come out and accept myself who I am. So I always explain when people ask that I live in two different worlds, one world where everything is perfect, everyone is pretending on social media, having the perfect life, or they have children, they have, cars, fancy homes, I don't know. And the other world, I want to explain, it's my world I live in today. It's the world that, I have accepted myself at the moment, and I really enjoy being gay. And, I feel comfortable in every certain areas I'm in. If you combine those worlds, it was really hard to accept my identity or my sexuality, just because of, other norms taking place. And I think one of the main reasons is my strong belief from when I was younger. And how about that everything would be or should be perfect in some sense.
Things have gotten better and he now accepts himself more than he did before.
There wasn't a specific moment for me to accept myself, I think. I can still struggle with some ideas about how I want to live, how I want to... I mean, I want children, but I also don't want children because it's my two worlds I live in. And how do I combine it? I want fancy stuff, but I also don't want fancy stuff because of environmental issues. I don't want to be predicted as, you know, a rich, famous man in some sense, but I also want that. You know, it's the duality between choosing what world I want to live in. And that's a question I always are struggling with every morning. Who I am, who will accept me for who I am, etc. For me, Christianity and my faith has for some years also been where I can just be in one of my worlds, just to calm down, relax. And that's the world where I accept myself. And in the other world, where I usually am, because I nearly go to church anymore, I feel the pressure of always succeed in some sense, you know, always having jobs, educations and stuff like that. It's very, for me it's also very important, but it's hard for me to combine both of these. And also in some sense these two worlds give me the strength of working with advocacy for the LGBTQ persons and how I struggle. I want no one else to struggle as I do. So I want people to acknowledge the strength we have in our community as LGBTQ persons. But I also want it combined with my faith, my religion, and other, like interfaith. It would be so cool to just discuss these issues with the interfaith groups.
And all of this leads to Daniel's activism and his vision of what he wants the world to look like.
For me, it's very important that LGBTQ persons and Christianity belongs to each other, and how we combine it. I think it's a part of activism to combine certain areas. One area I specifically want to work with is LGBTQ persons' rights, and especially in church. Sweden is very good at it at the moment, and especially Church of Sweden are promoting a lot of stuff. But I also, in the way of talking about activism, I think it's good to reflect on that we usually do promote working with LGBTQ persons more than we actually do. Yeah, you know, advocating for LGBTQ persons must be involved in your actual work. And we for sure really need to explore more, like brainstorm what we can do. Yeah, it really needs to get involved in what we do if we promote it. Otherwise it feels like it's pinkwashing in some sense.
But he also sees that the Church of Sweden, they do good things for LGBTQIA+ people.
I really enjoy seeing Church of Sweden being such a big part of, you know, the LGBTQ movement. But how can we do more? How can you really see that we are doing something? For me, that's so important. By doing so, I think we can achieve a more inclusive church and a more diverse church. The church itself proves that we are working with these issues. I really believe in the faith community and in like promoting religious leaders for working with this, because I really think religions in itself, different religions are so important for this movement. And how can we achieve a mobilization where we don't pinkwash, where we actually are doing something?